Hi, my name is Joseph Alai. Welcome to my channel. And today I want to talk about the labyrinth of creation. So the reason I bring this up is to specify and explain the systematic way and where the idea of thinking from your desire comes from and why it is so effective. And I want to share with you a story about someone who did this and achieved amazing astronomical results, and how you can use this too to get whatever you want. It's a simple formula. So first of all, if you have not done so already, please hit the like button. It does something with the algorithm which helps others to see this video who would not normally be able to see this, which is working tremendously. And subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified for further future content on predictable, systematic way to manifest anything you want day after day after day. So let's just jump right into it then. I call this the labyrinth of creation. You got to say it like that, the labyrinth. Otherwise it's lame, like labyrinth. No, the labyrinth of creation, the labyrinth of manifestation. So the idea, and this is a lot of times in scripture, what it talks about is when we manifest, we are to do something like enter into the potter's house, or enter into the closet, or in the tomb, right? Like in Golgotha, the skull. And so why does it say that? Why is that the reference? So that is where we commune and create that which we desire. So what does that mean? It's telling us to do that. It's not telling us to worry about anything else. It says that all we have to do is believe that we have already received what we want and we shall have it. Now, translated into modern English and the way that I teach manifesting, is that means to imagine you have already received it. Imagine after the end and you shall have it, right? So when you pray, believe you have already received it and you shall. And all things are possible to him who believes. So the idea is, if we can enter into the labyrinth of creation, the mind, the skull, and we suspend our senses, entering into the closet or in the bed, taking the desire, in Song of Solomon's, it talks about taking your desire into sleep with you. Now, all of these things indicate one common denominator, and only one common denominator, and that is bringing it into your mind, bringing it into your imagination. Now, the imagination is the human form of God, called Jesus Christ of Scripture, which is Yod He Vav Shin Ayin. And according to scripture, the I am, the I of man is God. And so the I of man is our awareness, right? The I am is awareness, Yod He Vav He. But in human form, the limitation of one singular awareness, it is Yod He Vav Shin Ayin. Now the last two symbols are a tooth and an eye, which is a signification that is God as man, or God the man, or Jesus Christ, as you translate it. The reason I say all of this is because I want to make the connection that there is no difference or separation between the original I am spirit and us. So all we have to do is invoke this spirit, which is said to be crucified in Golgotha, which means the place of the skull. And all we have to do is imagine the end, imagine after the end rather, enter into the closet or bringing into bed with us. And if we can bring our desire in its fulfilled state into our imagination, then there is an absolute 100% certainty that we will get what we want. Now, there are a couple steps to do this. And the first one that's most crucial is to outline what you want. You must know what you want in order to get a successful imaginal act. Now, whatever we bring into the imagination, which is the God of Scripture, what we bring into that creative force is what will be projected outward. Now, it will be refracted outward. So what we are in is awareness in its grand form. And what we are is the limited version of awareness that perceives the world, right? So the infinite awareness cannot know finite awareness. So we must come here and imagine So in essence, awareness became us and our life and gave me life so that I can experience awareness from within. But so what does this mean? Why am I saying all this stuff? How does this relate to anything? Because we have awareness within us. That is what we are. We are awareness. And so therefore we have that same power. In theory, if we are made up of the same awareness that created all of this, we are within this, and that means we have the same power. That means it's nothing on the outside that is creating. We don't have to worry about anything on the outside. We don't have to worry about emitting anything. We don't have to worry about the stars. We don't have to worry about anything at all. All we have to do is bring into our consciousness, into our awareness, the end result in first person point of view. And when we think from that scene, that is when we bring it to life. Just as when awareness came into us and brought us to life, we emulate that exact process, and we emulate it by imagining in first person point of view, thinking from the scene of our desire, not thinking of the scene of our desire. And so we must do this to the extent to which we can abandon ourselves temporarily to the wish fulfilled. And that is the only requirement for actually getting what you want. So an example of this, I met someone recently. So I was on the radio. If you did not hear that, I will post a link below. I was invited to go to Montreal to speak on the radio regarding manifestation on public FM radio, which is an awesome thing because apparently people want to know about this, and apparently they felt obliged to ask me. Crystal felt obliged to ask me to invite me onto the show. And so when I was there was a dinner, and there were a lot of manifestors there, right? A dinner was hosted for me. And one of the gentlemen there was telling me about a story when he first got into manifesting. So what he did was when he heard of it, he instantly believed it. And so he was focusing on that abundance, on that wealth. And so what he was wealth. He was feeling as if he was wealth. He was imagining that he had wealth. And so what he did was he wanted to move into a condo, and it was $800,000, and he did not have any bit of it. And so what he did was he imagined that he was there. He imagined that he was in there in first person point of view, feeling as if he was there. And what happened was he was compelled and moved to ask for a bit of money from his boss that he was working with now, but it was not the total of what he wanted. He needed another, I think, $600,000 to put down on this condo. So the interesting thing was that he received that money, he bought the condo, but then he was up to his ears in debt to pay off the mortgage. The interesting thing was, though, is that when he moved into this condo, there was an old lady that lived next door in the same complex. And he invited her over to dinner. And so she came over to dinner. She was very lonely. They had dinner. And she had such a great time that he invited her over again and again. And she said that she would love to come. She would love to be a part every single week of dinner. But she insisted that she paid him for it. Now, little did he know, he had zero idea that this lady was extremely wealthy. She had a lot of money. And so she ended up paying him $4,000 per month just out of the kindness of her heart because she wanted to, and she had no other way or purpose to spend the money. And in the end, he had his mortgage paid off completely. So what did he do there? He entered into the labyrinth of the mind, the labyrinth of creation, and the closet or the awareness or the skull, and he imagined what it would be like if it were true. What would it be like if he had that condo? What would it be like if he had that wealth? And he took that and he imagined it, and he felt the feelings of the wish fulfilled. He entered into that scene and thought from that scene, and he brought it to life in the same way that we do this on a regular basis. We don't have to limit ourselves to anything because all things are possible. We are that spirit. We are that spirit that creates. We don't have to worry about what we eat, what we drink. We don't have to worry about how many times a day we're praying. It doesn't matter about astrology or tarot cards or psychics. None of that matters. All of that is external. All of that is objective. When we make a decision, when we make the decision to abandon all other excuses or limitations or justifications for why we can't get something, or what we need to do to get something, or what we can't do, or the limitations of the world, when we abandon all of those things and we assume that we have that creative power in our mind, the one that will create anything by simply entering into that scene, by going into the closet, which is closing your eyes and going with awareness, imagining from awareness in the end, after the end of the wish fulfilled. So all you need to do is plan what you want. You plan what you want, you close your eyes, you enter into the closet, you go down into the potter's house and shape and mold the thing that you want. Now, what are we shaping and molding? Our imagination. What we realize is that once we do this, it will push towards the subconscious mind and be refracted out into this external world. Now, there's a time delay in the sense that there is a reflection from internal to external, but there's a delay of time. And so oftentimes before we knew how to manifest, we did not realize, actually all the time before we knew how to manifest, we did not realize that this world was a projection or a creation of our mind. But it is a mirror. It's just a delayed mirror. And so we have to make sure that we're watching what we bring into that labyrinth of creation. But if we start monitoring, if we only imagine what we want to imagine, if we control our thoughts, if while we're about to go to sleep, we imagine what we want and bring it into the labyrinth of the mind, then we will enter into it thinking first person point of view. After the end, we will bring it to life. We will create it and it will be refracted out in space-time. The eternal spirit will be refracted out in space-time, and we will manifest that which we have imagined, and it will be brought back to us, and we will experience it. So you can do anything you want. So ask yourself, what is it that you want? Think about that. What is it that you want? Now imagine there are 0 obstacles between now and that end. No obstacles. It's right in front of you. The amount of time and obstacles, imagine it collapsed. And this is your end, and this is where you are. Now, what would that feel like? What would you be saying and doing and acting like? What would you be experiencing? Create that experience, enter into it in your imagination, feel all the tones of reality. Feel the saturation of the mind, and then either fall asleep while doing it or let it go. And watch how the world will turn and bend to fit your desire. So anyway, this was a little different. I hope you liked it. If you did, definitely subscribe. Hit the bell icon. Stay tuned for more laser-focused, systematic, predictable manifesting techniques. Thank you so much.